Pablo, good to see you, brother. How you doing? First one in as always. JP, good to see you as well, brother. Evening. How you doing? Good day, Miles. Mike, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? How's things? Hi, CMF. Ripple, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening, Miles and CMF. Hope your meeting went well. It did. Actually went pretty damn well, to be honest. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Free forever. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Hi, Miles. We are close to the bull run. Johnny, we're getting there. Hi, Miles and CMF. Stormy, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hi, Miles. How's things? Things are great. Artistic. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Fantastic. How was your day? It was great. It was very busy. It was all over the place, to be very honest, but very busy. Now, it's honestly great. I mean, it's great to be back, and I missed doing the live shows. I missed enjoying, spending time with CMF on the live. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Urban, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening, Miles and CMF. How did it go yesterday? It went brilliant. Good to see you as well. Joe, how you doing? Morning, Miles and CMF. Shelly, good to see you as well. Morning. How you doing, Shelly? How's things? Okay, let's do intro, disclaimer, what we're going to go through on tonight's live. A few things to talk about. Everyone should be, verified and busy is good. Let's go, JP. Welcome to the CMF Live. If you're watching this for the first time ever, the CMF stands for Crypto Miles Family. My name is Miles. You can tune to this live Monday to Friday, 10 p.m. London time onwards for the most recent news regarding cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations. Pretty much vital information for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital space. The disclaimer of this live, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. And also, we do live Q&As on this live, as always, which means if you do have any questions, put it down in the comment section. More than happy to help you out. Now, on tonight's live, we're going to be talking about the Fed inflation situation. Why is the rest of the market space down while BNB is actually climbing? We're also going to go through some other essential news on tonight's live regarding CBDCs and the essentially in terms of the EU. We're also going to go through news on tonight's live regarding partnerships, announcements, what's happening inside the market spaces, how is the crypto space expanding even further. Ripple news obviously to go from tonight's live as always. But the first news we are going to be covering is regarding the New York Fed inflation situation. And just want to say one thing regarding yesterday's live, which I didn't do because I had a meeting coming up essentially yesterday, which I had a meeting essentially today. Yesterday I was preparing for, went brilliant. And regarding essentially the CoinMove contractor construction section, and it's not going to be me who's going to be on the job sites. It's not going to be me who's going to be on the construction sites. It's actually going to be the employees of CoinMove that are going to be on the construction sites, not me. So I'm not going to be building any homes, but we do have a tremendous amount of employees, and my father has, years upon experience in this line of work. But yeah, it's not going to be me who's going to be doing it, but it's going to be brilliant. Honestly, I'm expanding CoinMove in other sections, especially in the real estate section, going trying to expand into the real estate market space, also on the construction side of the market space, and starting with the UK, expanding worldwide. But the real estate side is going to expand, worldwide instantly, compared to the construction side, which is only going to be based in the UK and expanding, a little bit much more slower rate. But it's going to be incredible. And soon, hopefully, you will be seeing some sort of a CoinMove app, maybe somewhere down the line. I'm not going to be giving any timelines, but soon you should be seeing some sort of CoinMove app on the App Store, for example, or the Google Play Store. Now, enough about that. Let's go through the Fed talks, essentially, what happened regarding that. And why is the rest of the market space down? But on the other side, BNB is spiking up incredibly. So let's talk about the Fed first. The New York Fed inflation expectations rise to 3.4% in September. The New York Federal Reserve, essentially September survey, essentially reveals a rise in one-year inflation expectations to 3.4% from the 3.2%, potentially influencing economic strategies and market sentiments. Rising inflation expectations essentially highlight uncertainties, possibly affecting asset valuations and investor risk models, though no immediate impact on cryptocurrency markets like essentially Bitcoin, Ethereum has documented. However, it has now. The market is tremendously down. The New York Fed inflation forecast rises to 3.4% September. The New York Fed released its September survey of consumer expectations, indicating a rise in one-year inflation expectation to 3.4%. Previously, the report was handled by the essentially Fed's economic research team. Key leaderships, essentially from the Fed President John C. Williams, did not provide any sort of personal comments on social media, emphasizing the resilience essentially on the official communication channels for updates. Such shifts in inflation expectations often lead to analysis by institutional investors and economic observers, yet no direct changes to financial essentially market spaces and allocations were noted as a result of the report. Investors also essentially could potentially integrate these expectations into their economic forecast, impacting asset valuations, including cryptocurrencies. Regarding that, no official commentaries from exchanges or essentially statements from prominent crypto figures like Arthur Hayes, Vitalik Buterin, CZ, or essentially Brian Armstrong, Brad, and so on so far. While the survey's essentially findings influence broader market sentiments, any substantial commentary or sentiment shifts were absent from key corporate or government channels. Even Michael Saylor was very silent. Research teams indicate that higher inflation expectations could lead to increased scrutiny over monetary policies from regulatory bodies. Technological advancements within the crypto industry might assist in navigating potential financial turbulence derived from economic predictions, and the historical data suggests that crypto and broader financial markets often brace for some sort of an impact following significant inflation forecast adjustments. So since we had the reports come out essentially regarding the matter of the inflation situation of the Fed coming out today, crypto markets didn't really handle it too well. Bitcoin did reach essentially a good amount of height, but then drop back down. So did the rest of crypto market space. However, you might be thinking to yourself, fair enough, Fed report, still government shutdown going on, markets are down. Why the hell is BNB spiking up? Well, the reason why BNB is spiking up is because of meme coins. Chinese meme coins dominate BNB chain all of a sudden overnight as CZ fuels the rally. So CZ put out a tweet, something regarding meme coins. It's meme coin season on BNB's chain. And that tweet went viral. And BNB overnight became a meme coin chain. A meme coin chain. It's not a meme coin chain in reality. BNB has so much potential, especially in real world assets. But overnight, because of that tweet, it went on a meme coin frenzy. So BNB Chain's latest trading data shows a frenzy led by Chinese origin meme coins, topping the charts as the most traded tokens of the day. According to CoinGecko, essentially these Chinese tokens hit a 24-hour trading volumes of $35.3 million all of a sudden, with over 16,700 transactions just on one of these tokens, and liquidity exceeding above $11.7 million. Despite a modest, essentially 4.29% dip on some of these meme coins, remains up more than 10,000% since their launches, a staggering rise that has positioned as one of the essentially BNB's chain's top performing meme coins is a Chinese token right now. Another breakout was another Chinese token called Binance Life, is what the name of this essentially meme coin is. It's ranked 4th by volume, and it saw its price jump with a $3.2 essentially million in liquidity and a fully diluted value essentially valuation of $142 million overnight also. Though the token dropped nearly 20% over 6 hours, these are meme coins, which means they're extremely volatile. Though the tokens did drop 20% over 6 hours, a strong capital rotation underscores a speculative MENA now gripping the BNB ecosystems. According to CoinGecko, BNB Smart Chain decentralized exchanges processed over $5.6 billion in trading volumes just over last night, representing 31.9% of the total DEX volume across all blockchains. PancakeSwap continues to dominate BNB chain, with trading volumes hitting fresh records as BNB essential price highs draws waves of retail essentially traders back into meme coin markets. The surge reflects how BNB's bullish momentum is amplifying on-chain activity, pushing the network further ahead of essentially the Ethereum and Solana meme coin frenzies that we've had in the past. Meanwhile, Binance Coin itself has surged past $1,300 at the time of this article, climbing 7.5% in a single day to become the third largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization, overtaking XRP and USDT in select metrics. Analysts suggest that the rallies essentially reflects more than short-term hype, pointing to sustained inflows, strong derivatives positioning, and network upgrades as signs that BNB's momentum may endure beyond the current trading frenzy. I'm very doubtful on that. I'll be very honest. BNB, as I've said in the past, is a brilliant chain. I'll be honest. In real world assets, it does very well as well. I've always been a big fan of CZ and Binance. So putting that to one side, regarding meme coins, or essentially one particular chain becoming a meme coin frenzy and staying at the top, it's just not common. The only chain that was able to get meme coin season in and stay at the top was Ethereum. Solana got meme coin frenzies at one particular time and it couldn't stay in the top. So did AVAX. It got the meme coin frenzy season inside of it, and then essentially even AVAX themselves, the AVAX Foundation, said we're going to put $100 million into meme coin season for AVAX chain. Did AVAX stay where essentially it was in the top? No, it came back down as well. And again, AVAX, brilliant chain. So regarding this BNB's overnight seasonal 24-hour meme coin season, it started on it. Is it going to be a long-term process? No, it's going to be a short-term play on BNB. The latest, but again, you know, as I said, BNB, great chain, great future ahead of itself. The latest surge in activity followed a light-hearted, essentially, post from Binance co-founder CZ. And I'm a big fan of CZ. I've always respected the guy. He's an incredibly intelligent person as well, who commented on the ongoing meme coin, essentially, rally. He said, I didn't expect this at all. After CZ's tweet, which he sent out saying, #meme season, I didn't expect this at all. And people keep asking me to predict the future. Keep building, he said. CZ's tweet sent BNB-related meme tokens soaring within hours, with several experiencing double-digit gains before cooling off. The post has essentially since gone viral across Chinese language, essentially crypto channels, reinforcing the perception that retail speculation remains a powerful force on BNB's chain. Analysts note that while the meme coin-driven volume helps sustain liquidity and visibility for BNB chain, it also introduces volatility and risk, which is the side that most people don't listen to or don't pretend it's there. Meme coins equals to volatility. So the idea that BNB is going to stay where it is, ranking number 3 because of meme coin season, is ludicrous. It's going to come back down. Once essentially everybody makes their money from their meme coins, liquidity will exit out of BNB again and go back to where it was. It also introduces volatility and risk. Whether this marks a lasting phase, nope, or just another flash of mania will depend on whether developers echoing CZ's advice can keep building before the hype fades. And that's just what it is, hype. The reason why BNB is up, everything else is down. Everything else is down because of everything else that's going around the world. The government shutdown situations, inflation is still high. Reports of the Feds have came in. BNB is up because in the last 24 hours, because of one tweet. So the idea that BNB is going to stay at number 3, it's just not going to happen. Once this whole meme coin frenzy hype is over, just like it blasted off in 24 hours, it's going to blast right back down. Now, not blasting down in 24 hours, essentially, there's so many blasted about, but you get the picture. The hype will end, liquidity will exit out of BNB and go back to where it was. The liquidity could have came from Ethereum, Solana, XRP, XLM, wherever the liquidities came from the retail section, it will go back to where it was once people make their money on this whole meme coin bandwagon on BNB. So if you're smart, you would stay in your long-term place, not financial advice whatsoever. If you want to risk it all, then meme coin season on BNB is happening. It's not recommended whatsoever. Again, not financial advice at all. I won't be jumping on that bandwagon at all. I've never jumped on that bandwagon regarding meme coin hype seasons because it's just a good way to lose money. I'd rather give money away to a homeless person than invest into meme coins. Now, next news we're going to talk about on tonight's live is regarding the S&P, because they're about to be launching new index for cryptocurrencies. But before we talk about that, let's go inside the comment section first. As I said previously, this is live, which means if you have any questions or comments, go for it inside the comment section. Let's see what's happening inside the comment section. We were here. You think by December is bull run? I'll take considerable change, but Q4, the markets should be up. There is one big factor in play, which is regarding the government shutdown, which I'm going to talk a little bit more on, but a little bit later on tonight's live, because it's relatable to another article I'm going to share with you. Hi, Miles and family. Alex, good to see you as well. How you doing? I had enough working all the time. Trust me, everybody's in the same bandwagon, Johnny. Hope you had a food day. Good day is what you're trying to say, Ripple. I did. Hope you had a good day as well. Good evening, Miles. How are you doing? How are you? Callie, I'm doing great. How are you doing? How is things? Okay. When will CBDCs come to the UK? Well, the UK has introduced essentially digital IDs. After digital IDs is pretty much CBDCs. Also, the Bank of England has concluded its CBDC testings. Today, they made the announcement. How can I get a job with CoinMove? No jobs available as of now. Later on, sure. Hi, Basis. Good to see you. How you doing? What's up, Miles? What's up, CMF? Kerry, good to see you, brother. How you doing? Ripple says Swift saying they are using Chainlink. Swift can use Chainlink, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, AVAX, all together at once. And it's still a political tool. Doesn't make a difference. Swift is old. Even though they're trying to become new in a blockchain, digital payment infrastructure world, it's still a political tool. There's a reason why BRICS was created. It wasn't mostly created to get away from the dollars. It essentially was created to get away from the monopoly that SWIFT had inside the banking sector, which was going around sanctioning countries. So honestly, SWIFT could partner up with 1,000 different blockchains overnight and decide to go with all of them at once. It's still a failing company in a digital sense. CoinMove 1, let's go. Let's go, Cali. Hey, Miles, the CMF Comatose. Good to see you. How you doing? Hi, Miles. How are you? Hope your meetings today went well. They did. Paul, good to see you. How you doing? Evening, Miles and family. How was your meeting? It went great, Susie. Good to see you. How you doing? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Manny, good to see you. How you doing? Hi, Miles. Ron, good to see you. How you doing? Hello, Miles and CMF members. I hope that you all had a good day. Let's go, Scott. Good to see you, brother. How you doing? Hi, Miles. Hope you're well, mate. I'm still burning myself stupid in Tenerife, but still tuning in. Let's go, Addy, on the vacation. Good to see you, brother. How you doing? Miles, I'm still investing in CoinMove when the opportunity presents itself. Let's go, Scott. Now, S&P to launch a new index for cryptocurrencies. And here are the altcoins that's going to be essentially that may be included in this package that the S&P is about to be introducing. It's a big deal. This is what people should be focused on, not meme coin hype season for 24 hours or 48 hours. S&P Dow Jones Indices essentially has taken a new step towards the cryptocurrency markets, announcing Digital Markets 50 Index. According to essentially Barron's, the index will offer hybrid structures that combines both traditional stock markets and digital assets. The new index will track 35 publicly traded companies operating in the crypto infrastructure, blockchain applications, and the financial services, along with 15 cryptocurrencies selected from the S&P's essentially existing broad digital market index. This will create a cross-asset indicator that measures the performance of both the companies building the digital asset ecosystem and the tokens that drive it. The S&P essentially crypto indices include the leading crypto assets such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, Link, Ava, and DOT, and even essentially AVAX. The new index essentially was designed in collaboration with Dino, a platform that tokenizes US publicly essentially traded stocks. Dino will issue a token called D-Share, which will allow investors to track the index directly on chain. This token is designed essentially to be transparent, accessible across different blockchain platforms. Cameron, the director of the products and operations at the S&P Dow Jones Indices, argued that digital assets have now become a permanent part of the global financial system, making essentially the following statements. The cryptocurrency and digital asset industry is now moving essentially from the margins to a more established role within the global essentially investment ecosystems, and the S&P Dow Jones expanding index lineup provides investors with transparent, rules-based, and comparable tools for digital assets. That is huge news. The S&P joining the market space, not just joining the crypto market space, creating a package for investors of crypto companies and crypto tokens at the top of the range, but also mentioning in their own words that crypto is here to stay. It's a permanent part of the financial global market space now. That is a massive statement coming from them. Now, that's what people should be focused on, not meme coin frenzies. Cardano's founder, Hoskin, said, cross-chain vision, tapping Bitcoin's $2 trillion liquidity for Cardano DeFi search. Cardano's founder came out essentially and discussed the idea of connecting Bitcoin's chain and the XRP ledger to Cardano to make the liquidity move about. So here it is. Cardano's founder, Charles, has presented a plan to significantly grow the network's total value locked. He detailed this strategy as the Token 2049 event in Singapore. The core of the proposal involves connecting Bitcoin and XRP to Cardano's decentralized finance infrastructure. Charles observed that while Cardano's DeFi activity has progressed slower than other chains, a substantial opportunity exists. He pointed to the vast liquidity within the Bitcoin network, which holds a value exceeding $2 trillion. Most of these assets currently remain inactive within decentralized, essentially finance applications. Channeling a portion of this capital to Cardano could bring billions in value and expand its user base. A technical feature called the extended UTXO model essentially provides a foundation for this integration. Charles mentioned this model has structural essentially commodities with Bitcoin's transaction frameworks. These shared characteristics could enable smart contracts to function across both blockchains. The result would be smoother transfers of assets between the networks. Charles also highlighted that over $100 billion worth of XRP is held without essentially generating yield for its owners. Creating pathways for these holders to earn passive income on Cardano could draw a meaningful portion of these funds. Tokenizing real-world assets like property forms, another component of the broader plan. Utilizing these initiatives with Bitcoin and the XRP integrations could collectively push Cardano's TVL towards a range of $10 to $15 billion. Reaching the upper essentially end of its forecast would place essentially its total value locked above Solana's current $12.8 billion. This is part of Cardano's larger strategy to position itself essentially as an interoperable, essentially DeFi hub directly on the Ethereum layer 2s. The initiative will roll out in phases and is essentially being backed by native protocols like Indigo, Miniswap, and Liquid, essentially which had already begun deploying test integrations of BT's CBDC and wrapped versions of XRP, which in other words WXRP. In parallel, Charles also expressed public support for Elon Musk's essentially a decentralized knowledge base that aims to counter traditional information gatekeepers like Wikipedia. This alignment has been interpreted essentially as a move to improve Cardano's mainstream image, especially following ongoing bias accusations by critics in essentially centralized media outlets. A recent public apology also by one of Cardano's major critics also contributed to a temporary price surge, suggesting that even sentiment-based events are essentially capable of moving ADA in the short term. From an on-chain perspective, Cardano's active wallet count and transaction throughput remain consistent, aided by recent upgrades to Essentials Consensus Protocol. The upcoming Plutos version 3 smart contract update on Cardano's chain, expected later this quarter, will reduce essentially execution costs and introduce native support for dynamic NFTs and on-chain corals, essential for complex DeFi, DApps, and real-world asset tokenizations. If you are somebody that is holding Cardano, this is brilliant news. And the fact that Cardano essentially didn't choose Solana or essentially Ethereum or essentially any other chain and decided to, only expand into Bitcoin for liquidity purposes and XRP because they can offer them yield, it's interesting. I'll be very honest. He chose, in my opinion, one of the best chains to partner up with. I think you know which chain I'm talking about. Now, moving on from what Cardano's founder had to say and how he's expanding Cardano's network for XRP and Bitcoin to SpaceX. So, apparently, SpaceX is about to be allocating $1 billion to Bitcoin holdings, to their Bitcoin holdings. Elon Musk SpaceX has allocated $1 billion worth of Bitcoin to his treasury portfolio as of October 2025, reflecting a major investment choice that aligns with his industry trends. This investment signifies growing institutional bullishness in Bitcoin, potentially influencing market sentiments and fueling further corporate treasury allocations into cryptocurrencies. SpaceX has allocated around 8,285 Bitcoins valued at over $1 billion as a part of its treasury asset. The move highlights SpaceX's increasing involvements in the digital currency space, following similar actions leading essentially by corporations. Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, is at the forefront of this initiative. Although no official statements have been released, a significant allocation emphasizes the strategic importance of cryptocurrencies and their essentially financial strategies. As of October 7th, 2025, there are no direct quotes from Elon Musk or SpaceX leadership regarding their recent Bitcoin expansion holdings. This allocation is expected to reinforce market confidence in Bitcoin, potentially influencing broader market trends. Institutional investors also may begin to see Bitcoin as a legitimate treasury asset following SpaceX's endorsement in that sector. The financial implications include heightened attention to Bitcoin's role as digital gold, impacting essentially investment strategies across sectors. Essentially, this also reflects a growing corporate shift towards diversified digital assets, and the investment by SpaceX could lead to increased institutional interest, affecting Bitcoin's price volatility and long-term valuation dynamics. Market observers will closely be monitoring Bitcoin's performance following this announcement, and Bitcoin's integration to corporate treasuries showcases evolving status in the financial markets. On that sense, brilliant. And essentially, SpaceX is doing this type of maneuvers, expanding their essential vault inside the Bitcoin sector. No statements from Elon Musk whatsoever, no statements from SpaceX whatsoever either. The idea that Bitcoin is still being titled digital gold is a bit controversial, in my opinion, because for something to be called digital gold, it has to react like a digital gold, and if it doesn't react like one, you can't title it that. If it reacts like it sometimes, it's still a bit controversial to say it's a digital gold, because Bitcoin follows, as I've said previously, sometimes tech stocks, sometimes gold, and sometimes it just goes on its own tangent. Now, Trump is what we're going to talk about next on tonight's slide. Before we talk about Trump, let's go to the comment section first. Let's see what's happening there. As I said previously, if you have any questions, this is live. As always, just go for inside the comment section. More than happy to help you out. So let's see what's happening inside the comment section, and then we'll go straight into the next news, which is regarding Trump. Let's see where we're at. We were at here. Remember that I'm an OG. Let's go, Scott. Hi, Miles CMF. George, good to see you. How are you doing? Paul says, is there any truth in that HMRC will hold intel on all digital transactions using AI from January 1st, 2026? If so, what does that mean for us? Now, the idea that the HMRC is going to use AI technology to track everybody's digital transactions is not far-fetched. Even if it's not true, coming essentially from any sort of news source, even if it's not true, it's not far-fetched. Reasonings why is because it's already been introduced in different jurisdictions around the world. So we have had news come out, for example, out of the EU discussing essentially using AI technology, or even Hong Kong, or even South Korea, discussing the idea of using AI technology embedded into the financial sector to track your essentially transaction movements inside the market space. Singapore has also spoken about this before as well, because you can't have humans there as employees tracking everybody's wallet transactions, because it will take absolutely years just to track one person, never mind, an entire country. So it's the idea behind it is not far-fetched that the UK somewhere down the line will start using AI technology to track everybody's essentially transactions. Now, regarding the matters of if so, what will mean for us? As long as you're legitimate, you're perfectly fine. If you do any sort of dodgy behaviors in a digital world, it's easy to track you and put you behind bars. Simplest way to put it. So it's always, as long as you're legitimate, there shouldn't be any sort of issues, is what I would say. But the idea behind it, on January 1st, I don't know to be able to confirm it for you. January 1st, HMRC is going to be using essentially AI technology. But the idea behind it has been introduced in different jurisdictions around the world. And even Dubai has spoken about using AI technology to track people's transactions. And even in the UK, they did introduce, for anybody that does hold a company inside the UK, you need to register for some sort of a digital ID. If you are a company, limited company holder inside the UK, definitely check with your accountants. If you don't have an accountant, go and log into your company's house account. There should be some sort of buttons there for a government digital ID section. I had to fill it out. I've actually now got some form of a government digital ID now, and only because I have a limited company. So when you have a limited company in the UK, you have to get some sort of government ID. And 3 years ago we were talking about this, and now it's here. Hi, Miles, CMF. George, read that one already. It's coming to the end of the year. SpaceX has to get rid of some money, which is also a fair point. Legitimate, okay. What about political dissent? Susie, elaborate on that, exactly what you're trying to say. So just so I can have a better idea of what type of response to give. Susie, just elaborate on your question. Hi, Miles and CMF family. Good evening, everyone. Let's go for facts news. Let's go, Carl. Now, also in the UK, regarding people signing to not get digital IDs. So there's over 2 million signatures, people saying they don't want digital IDs in the UK. And did the Labour Party listen to the people that voted for it? Did the government listen in general? No. Was the government going to listen? No. I said this 3 years ago. The governments of any country, they couldn't care less about the public's opinion. If it doesn't fit into their agenda, they couldn't care less what people's opinions are. We don't really, we choose and so on, but somebody else really does run the show. But yeah, over 2 million people signed it. People thought they could protest, they could sign a petition not to get digital IDs in the UK, and over 2 million people signed it. That means it should be considered, and it wasn't even considered. I could have told that people before they signed the petition that it's just not going to work. And you're better off preparing for a digital future than trying to stand against it, because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. Preparing for it is smart. Trying to scream, shout, and sign petitions is going to get you nowhere. Hi, CMF. Okay. Tracking your wallet as well as political opinion and possibly pushing somehow. Yes, it's possible that they could weigh your opinions. Yes, it's true. Look, in a digital world, the only reference we have of a digital world is China since day one. Before any other country had a social credit system, a digital wallet, China was the one that we could have an image of where our future is going to be headed towards. And that's what I said 3 years ago. I said, if you want to look where your country is going to be headed towards, look at China, digital ID, social credit system, and so on. And there is a documentary. If anybody hasn't seen it, you might want to go and check it out. There's a documentary about China's social credit system world right now. And they can push your opinions if they wanted to. I mean, if somebody is able to control your food supply, your electricity, your gas, your money, and also essentially what you can and can't say online, then it's not far-fetched that they can sway you into different opinions without you having a say, is what I would say to that. What do you think about digital ID being compulsory? What is the next step? Is it time to leave Europe? I'll be very honest. It doesn't matter if you leave Europe or not. Digital IDs is something that's going to be introduced in the entire world. 98%, now at this point should be 99% of centralized banks, because before the studies were 98% of centralized banks, according to the International Monetary Fund and the Bank of International Settlements and the Atlantic reports, 98% of centralized banks are in CBDCs. So the idea of leaving your country, hoping to go to a country where digital IDs won't be introduced, it's just not going to happen. Unless you want to move to a deserted island, then sure, you could get away from digital IDs. But if you're not planning on moving to a deserted island, and no matter where you live in this world, you're going to be under this digital system. They're pushing so fast and so hard for this digital world that there's nothing that's going to be stopping them. Not people signing petitions, not people protesting. They couldn't care less. They're aiming for that target. Regarding also what's the next step? Well, they're going to be introducing, after a digital ID is passed, a digital wallet is going to pass. And essentially with a digital wallet, it's going to be introduced the idea of digital pounds, digital euros, digital dollars, but not USDT or USDC or RLUSD. It's going to be CBDCs, a British, essentially. The Bank of England today, the Bank of England concluded all of its tests regarding CBDCs. The participants, essentially involvements, and essentially they conclude everything today. The Bank of England concluded that test. And all these centralized banks around the world, some of them do come out and say, oh, we're not interested in CBDCs, but we're still going to continue spending millions of dollars on research and billions of dollars on research and time on something we don't care about. The only reason they're saying that is because they don't want people looking into it. But if you check out CBDC news, essentially, which I do bring also on this live as well, and I share you all the time regarding CBDC updates, we're so close. First, digital IDs. Second, digital wallets, which then will evolve into CBDCs. And The idea of leaving Europe, hoping to get away from all of it, it's not going to happen, I'll be honest. They're even introducing CBDCs in Iran, just to put it out there for you. I mean, they're introducing CBDCs in Canada, the US, as much as they say they're not going to. There's a loophole in that, essentially anti-CBDC law. In Latin American countries, in Europe, Singapore, Hong Kong, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Iran, Australia, Japan. I mean, the list just goes on. The whole world is going to be on the CBDC and digital ID. There's a reason why they started doing testings on small little islands like Paolo, for example, or the Caribbeans, for example, because they wanted to see how that type of market space will, thrive. Will there be any sort of errors before they go on a larger scale? How can, sorry to hear that regarding the digital ID, you called it, bro. I did call it, 3 years ago, when the world, 3 years ago, when the world still didn't have digital ID, social credit systems, or 15-minute cities. China was the only one. I came on TikTok for the first time ever, 3 years ago. I came on TikTok for the first time ever, on live. And I said to everyone that watched me 3 years ago, I said, if you want to know where your country's headed, look at China. Digital wallets, digital ID, social credit system, 15-minute cities is heading your way. You fast forward 3 to 4 years, every country in the world is talking about CBDC, CBDC testing, CBDC pilots, digital wallets, digital IDs, social credit systems, 15-minute cities. Oxford is the first city in the UK that's going to charge you daily for driving your car. Just to essentially give you another perspective, a city essentially, in the UK is going to be charging. Oxford is going to be the first place in the United Kingdom to charge people daily to drive their cars. And they're saying it because they want to save the planet. And that if you live in Oxford and you want to drive your car daily, it's been introduced. It hasn't passed yet, but it's going to pass. If you live in Oxford, you can buy an annual pass. But if you're somebody that's going to be driving in Oxford, essentially going in and out of Oxford, you're paying daily to drive there. It doesn't matter what day it is. It could be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You're paying to drive your car. And they're doing that to save the planet. The UK is this big. It's planning on saving the planet. And there are people coming out saying, this is a brilliant idea. The ones I'm talking about, the loony ones, they look like Looney Tunes characters. They're coming out saying that this is a brilliant idea because we can save the planet. Sure, that's why they're doing it. They're doing it to save the planet. Now, UK company house identity verification will be required from 18th November 2025. Yep, it's true, because I've done one. What is the best solution to deal with a digital ID? What is the best solution to deal with a digital ID? Nothing. Comply. Honestly. When governments introduce a digital ID, if you don't get in too early, and you get in late, because not saying you're going to do this, but let's say, your government comes out and says, we're going to introduce a digital ID. And some people say, no, hell no, I'm not standing for this. And some people say, oh well, what can we do for real? Because nothing's going to change. Nothing has changed. No matter how many times you protest, sign petitions, nothing really changes. And some people will comply and say, yep, no problem, digital ID, whatever. Some people will say, hell no, never, I'm protesting, I'm signing petitions. The ones that comply will get in early, which means their getting in process, their signing up process will be like this. The ones that get in late because they were protesting, signing petitions, screaming and shouting, holding placards, they're not going to get into that system like this, the same way those people did. They're going to go through a much of a headache or a hassle of 25 different questions before they can pass through. They still have to get it, but they're going to give them a headache when they get it. But the people that just go, no matter what I say or what I do, it's going to happen either way. Those people will get into that digital ID and digital wallet system like this, and the rest that don't comply will be answering 25 questions of why didn't they do it earlier on. We already do that in London. Yes, we do that in London, but that's for a congestion charge, to drive in London for congestion charge scenarios. The reason why they're doing it in Oxford is because they're planning on rolling it out in every city in the UK. Oxford is just the start. They're planning on essentially releasing this in every city in the UK. As time goes by, every city, every village inside the United Kingdom will have this compulsory. If you want to drive your car, you're paying this much a day. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, £6 a day for now to drive your car in Oxford. But they're starting out in Oxford. Oxford was also the first place in the UK where they started test trialing 15-minute cities. Not building everything within a 15-minute radius, but trying to create this digital lifestyle of, you can't go beyond 15-minute cities. You can walk essentially beyond 15 minutes, essentially around your radius. That's no problem. You can walk wherever you want. It's just that your money wouldn't work beyond that radius. And again, just to clarify, nobody in Oxford has digital pounds whatsoever. It's just the test trial payments that are going on. It's not the public. It's just test trials that are going on. But they're trying to, and Oxford, honestly, it has been the breathing ground of all the test trials in the UK for a digital world. For digital UK, to be fairly honest, mainly because Oxford thrives on being liberal. And because Oxford thrives on being very liberal, it's very easy to implement it. Save the planet, yep. We already do that. Yep. I got your point, Miles. Thanks for sharing your opinion. I ask these questions because I have kids. I want a better future and a freedom for them. Fair enough, Carl. And great question, honestly, Carl, because most people probably wanted to know the answers to those questions. And honestly, brilliant question. Miles, if we have our XRP, will we still need to use CBDCs? Can you explain the difference and advantages? Yes. If you still have XRP or any other cryptocurrency, essentially, in a CBDC, in a digital United Kingdom, and you still have XRP or XLM or XDC or Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, whatever you may have on the sidelines, and then a CBDC gets introduced in the UK, which, as I said, the Bank of England today concluded their testings. If we have a digital pounds in the UK and a digital ID in the UK and a digital social credit system, essentially, in the United Kingdom, everybody will get one. As I said previously, if you have cryptocurrencies or don't have cryptocurrencies, you're still going to get a digital ID and the other rest of the requirements for it. The advantages of a CBDC is none, absolutely zilch, for the retail section. Because sure, it will be introduced as digital pounds. They'll just call it. And in Bahrain, for example, they said, why are we calling it CBDCs? Let's just call it, money. That's what it is. Stop putting emphasis on this digital money, making people scared, because it is a CBDC reality, but, people are getting scared. But anyways, coming back to the UK, there's pretty much zilch advantages when it comes to the retail section regarding CBDCs. The advantages comes when you have cryptocurrencies. So you can do whatever you want in a digital world if you have cryptocurrencies. The only thing you can't do is get loud. In a digital world, if you have cryptocurrencies, you can pretty much do what you want to do. But the only thing you can't do is open your mouth in a digital world. Because even if you have cryptocurrencies and you open your mouth, they'll take it away. Somehow they'll take it away. They'll let you enjoy your cryptocurrencies as long as you stick your head down and live your life. Stick your head down and enjoy your cryptocurrencies. Enjoy your new wealth. But if you have cryptocurrencies and you're living in a CBDC world and you decide to open your mouth and shout out loud what your opinion is, they'll find a way to take it away from you. All of it. So it's just about keeping your head down, enjoying your life. So if you have kids or a family you want to look after, enjoy your life in a crypto world. And if you want to feel sorry for the people next to you who didn't invest into cryptocurrencies, and then we went to a CBDC world and they're trapped in digital pounds, euros, or dollars, and you have cryptocurrencies, you can't really feel sorry for people if they had the opportunity but didn't take action. You can only feel sorry for people that never had the opportunity and then now are stuck in a digital world. That's, okay to feel sorry for. But for people who had the exact same opportunities as you, they get involved inside a cryptocurrency. Well, I mean, I know somebody that's investing £5 a month. There's an Uber driver I met once. Okay, just to give you a perspective, because some people say to me, I have no money to invest in cryptocurrencies and so on and so on. But then they're paying for Netflix subscriptions, they're paying for Hulu subscriptions, they're paying for YouTube subscriptions, Spotify subscriptions, but then yet they don't have even £1 spare. I know an Uber driver. Once I got an Uber, essentially, he was driving me to my destination. We got into a conversation about cryptocurrencies and stuff. And I said, he said to me, what do I do for a living? I said, I work in finance. I don't tell people I do crypto, randomly, because telling people you essentially you're working inside the crypto sector, it's like telling people you have cancer. All of a sudden, they just want to change the conversation and not talk to you because you mentioned the words cryptocurrencies. So typically, when people ask me, what are you essentially, what line of work are you? And I always just say finance. And then if I see where the conversation is going, and then he started talking about cryptocurrencies, and I said, oh, you have cryptocurrencies, and what do you do, and so on. And he says, yeah, I don't have much. I was like, it's okay. I said, you're probably ahead of a lot of people right now. And I said, how much do you invest? And he said, the only thing I have left, he said, after paying my essentially rent, paying for, my car, paying for my family, food, gas, electricity, and after everything, I would probably have a few, pounds essentially saved up and putting his money in savings. But he said, I put £5 aside because I'll have like £100 spare. I'll put £5 aside to buy XRP. He spends £5 a month buying XRP. So this is why I say, when we go into a digital world and your friends and your family and your colleagues around you are stuck in a digital world, and they had the exact same opportunities as you to buy these cryptocurrencies, you can't really feel sorry for people if they had the exact same opportunities as you. But for people that never had this opportunity, sure, I deeply feel sorry for them. But for the people that had the exact same opportunities as you, this is why I say, in a digital world, keep your head down, don't get loud, enjoy your crypto money. In a digital world, if you get loud, go find a way. Well, honestly, and people say to me sometimes, oh, I have no money to invest into crypto. This Uber driver is investing £5 a month. He's been investing £5 a month for a while because it all adds up. Share the live, like button. Let's go, Scott. So regarding, if you have cryptocurrencies, what's your advantages? You get to live freely. You get to live how you want to live. You just can't get loud. And advantages on CBDCs, its advantages for CBDCs are heavily based on the governments, extreme advantages. Advantages for retail section, not so much, but XRP, tremendous advantage for the retail section. If you're involved in it, we go into a digital world. It's XRP, the XRP ledger is laying down the foundation. Ripple is laying down the foundation. So is what I would say to that. Already, those lands in government 100 years ago by powerful ones, please do not think you are owns myth. Shared live. Let's go, Scott. Sadly, I have a big mouth. Problems easy. Now, Trump fires the FTC commissioner. Essentially, crypto legislation is at risk, is what they're calling it. Also, regarding Trump right now is playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. And it's hard for people to see Trump playing chess because the majority of people outside of the US see Trump as a buffoon idiot. The reality of it is Trump is an incredibly intelligent businessman, putting aside his 6 bankruptcies because he's still a billionaire. And people have never had one bankruptcy, they're still not billionaires. And some people would say, well, Trump received $1 million from his father. Of course he's going to be rich. He received $1 million. I know, from the news, we know plenty of celebrity kids that have millions of dollars to their names and they're absolutely useless tarts. So, bring that aside. Regardless of government shutdown situation, Trump is now going to be able to pass everything he wanted to pass because there's nobody there to stop him. With this government shutdown situation going, because before a government shutdown, Trump would say something and say, we're going to do this. And then the liberals would come out, you know who I'm talking about. They would come out and say, no, Trump is not allowed. And all the liberal judges would try to clamp down on his movements and try to stop him. Now with a government shutdown, Trump has a much more louder voice, which means he's able to pass a lot of things. Ironically, Trump was also with the person that was behind the 2025 project agenda or something that was mentioned a while back ago. So America is also heading towards a digital world. As much as some people think it might not, Trump is playing chess, honestly, while everybody else is playing checkers, because Trump has just removed the barrier that was holding him back. And now he has a much more louder voice, which means he's able to get things done, which he couldn't do before. So the government shutdown is actually working in his favor a lot more. He's a very smart person. Can XRP be transferred onto our kids on the death of the holder, i.e. me? How will that be done? Yes, you can. If you want to pass your cryptocurrencies on to your children, once they reach a certain age of maturity, let them know about your seed phrases. Let them know how to use it. From a young age, I would suggest teaching kids about blockchain technology, about AI, about cryptocurrencies, how they can be used, what's a wallet, what's blockchain, this and that. So that when they get to a certain age, then you can let them know that, dad or mum has a crypto wallet. And these are the seed phrases. And because now they have a better understanding, they know what to do next, essentially. So if you want to pass them on, first start teaching your children 100% about cryptocurrencies and also AI. Then when they reach a certain age, say, this is dad's or mum's, essentially, seed phrases, this is their wallet, and so on and so on. Pass it down like that, is what I would say. Good question. I'd like the answer to that one too. Let's go, Scott. Now, well, Johnny asks, Miles, is 20K XRP the right number to hold? 20,000 XRP is a great amount to hold. What else? Can XRP be transferred to kids? But great question, Paul, because a lot of people might want to know, can XRP be transferred to their kids? Happy Pisces says, Miles, wouldn't it be better to leave the seed phrase with the lawyer because the kids could excitingly maybe share the seed phrase with their friends or talk about it to their friends, which could cause trouble? Which is a very fair point. Some kids are pretty stupid, to be very honest. But it does depend at the end of the day on how, you would raise your child. Even if you raise them correctly, they might slip up and let out the seed phrases. But that's why it's incredibly important to teach them about cryptocurrencies first. And then when they get to a certain age of maturity, that's when you should tell them, is what I would say. Leaving it with a lawyer, I don't trust lawyers. I have lawyer friends who work in very high-end firms in central London. And I don't trust them at all, to be fairly honest, at all, whatsoever. So if you want to trust a lawyer, go for it, by all means. If you have a family lawyer that you trust open only to, do this for you, why not? Me personally, I don't have, as I said, one of my best friends, we grew up together. He's a lawyer. I don't trust him because lawyers are, not all lawyers, just want to point this out, but a lot of lawyers are extremely manipulative and corrupt. They always try to do things in their own agenda. So again, I'm not talking about all types of lawyers in any sort of a way, but they are good lawyers, I'll be honest. Very wise advice to pass down to kids. Yep, definitely. Some kids indeed morons. Yeah. It's just truth. I was, we were all children once. We weren't, Is it time to leave the UK or still safe to live with holding crypto? No matter where you go, unless you're planning on buying an island, then no matter where you go, Johnny, you're going to be stuck in that CBDC, in that digital world, essentially. Eventually, they'll have smart contracts where you can transfer crypto to your relatives, etc., upon passing. That's correct. What Shelley has asked as well, that is correct. There was a company, essentially, based in the US, if I'm not mistaken, where they said they've created something which can pass your cryptocurrencies to your loved ones and so on. As we go further into the digital world, there will be certain companies or companies that still currently exist will be offering these types of services. So yes, definitely. I just prefer, the simplified method of telling your kids when they reach a mature age what, the seed phrases are. I prefer that method more than involving a third party. I just don't like the idea of involving a third party in a digital world. Silence and privacy is absolutely key in a digital world. You'll realize that more as we go into a digital world even further. That silence and privacy is absolutely golden in a digital world. Greetings, Miles and CMF. Have missed. Fill me in about CoinMove. Lena, good to see you. How you're doing? The meeting went brilliant. Few days we should be launching the construction side of CoinMove regarding, operating on essentially cryptocurrencies, XRP, and so on. And then a little bit later on the real estate section, a little bit later on the app, and so on and so on. But it went great, Lena. Good to see you. How you doing? How's your day? Put it into a trust. Is how Happy Pisces said. Put it into a trust. If in the US, put crypto inside an LLC. Sorry, I meant put it inside. The which would not be open or expose the seed phrases until time of reading the will, not directly in the hands of the lawyer. It's an option. If you want to do that, it is an option. I would still say privacy is absolutely key. There's a reason why institutions, more than anything, just to put in perspective, there's a reason why institutions, more than anything, more than tokenization, more than fast payments, cheap payments, global payments, every single advantage there is inside the crypto sector, there's a reason why institutions care about one main thing in the digital world. And it isn't the fastest, the cheapest, the global. They care about all those things, yes. They care about tokenization. They love tokenization. But what do they love more in a digital world? Privacy. Institutions love more than anything else in this digital world, even though they love the idea of tokenization and how much money it brings to the table. What do they love more than that? Their number one priority in a digital world, privacy. In a digital world, privacy is key. Try to keep it within the family. Is what I would say. A trust, an LLC, is an option. It's if you want to take it, why not? It is your, your money, your crypto. You can do whatever you want with it. Not financial advice whatsoever. But just think about that one thing. More than anything else in this world, more than the liquidity that the crypto markets bring to the table, and for a fact, institutions love money. They love greed. Banks love money. They love greed. Governments love money. They love greed, power. But what do they care about above all of that in a digital world? For themselves, privacy. Just keep that in mind. In the US, the lawyer gets 33% of many cases. They are going to get their cut one way or the other. Hello, buddy. Let's go. Hi, Miles, CMF. Peg, good to see you. How you doing? But then again, it's completely up to you. If you want to let your kids know, if you want to let your lawyer know, your trust, your LLC, their options are always there. Completely your choice, your money, not financial advice whatsoever. Could we not just transfer onto their personal wallets before we die? You can also do that too, but then they would, it's the same way if you tell them the seed phrase, or you could just transfer it to them. And why not? Because that's still keeping it within the family. Why not? Or I'll just tell my kids to call you to sort it out, Miles, so they don't muck it up. Fair enough, Shelley. That's also an option as well. People can call me. If your kids do get stuck in the crypto world, they can send me a message and call me, and I will try my best to help them out. I like the idea, Miles. I follow Shelley's suggestion. It's easier. Good suggestion, Shelley. Can you please repeat the ID code you have to fill out with your limited company? Yes. Also, you would have to go to Company's House, log into Company's House, and then essentially there should be an option there for gov.uk, something related to IDs. If you want, direct message me on X. I'll send you the link from the government website regarding digital IDs for Company's House. I don't understand why people are making it so hard. To just keep simple and pass down the seed phrase. It's the best option, Kerry. Miles, I'm just sharing options. I know you're not a fan of LLCs or corporations. However, I'm just seeing families fighting over much smaller things, and you can easily get into wallets with the seed phrases, which is a fair point. Absolutely fair point, Pisces. You just go buy another wallet. It could cause a huge destruction if the kids know the seed phrases well ahead. Which is why I suggested a trust for some families. Fair enough. Honestly, fair enough. They're all, good options. Fair enough. Regarding the whole, who gets more of the piece of the pie when it comes to the kids, it's a fair point. Now, Trump. Actually, you know what? Moving off the Trump news, because I want to share you this news. So, this one. Regarding the European Central Bank, because it's relatable to what we've been talking about right now. So the European Central Bank today came out with a very, very interesting perspective, which matches what's been going on in the UK, with over 2 million people signing a petition to say no to digital IDs. And the government ignored it in the UK, like it didn't even matter, because it never did in the first place for them. So the European Central Bank President, Christian Lagarde, calls democratic process a drag, slowing digital euro CBDC rollout. The European Central Bank President Christian Lagarde has expressed clear frustration with democratic processes that she believes are obstructing her efforts to introduce a central bank digital currency. Speaking at the Bank of Finland's 4th International Monetary Policy Conference, Lagarde categorized the digital euro's delay not as a technical hurdle, but as the result of slow-moving democratic systems. And she wants to bypass the democratic slowing systems and just jump straight into it. Although she acknowledged that democracy is something Europeans praise ourselves with, she went on to describe it as too much of a drag at times when speed is really of the essence. The reason why speed is really of the essence for every centralized bank around the world is because they're getting to a stage where if they print any more, they're never going to be able to crawl out of that hole they've been essentially digging into. Hence why they want to go to a digital world. And it also does, refer back to what Anton said, who's Putin's advisor, on the topic of, is the US about to be clearing its massive $1 trillion debt using crypto? Yes. Is Europe about to pull the same gig? Yes. Is every centralized bank around the world about to be playing the same gig? Yes. If the US is able to clear its debt in some sort of a way using stablecoins, for example, or a ledger, then every country essentially that also has a debt is going to use the exact same method. So this is why Christian Lagarde saying, yes, Europe, as Europeans, we pride ourselves on our democracy, but also it's a bit of a drag, and when we need to move quicker. The digital euro project is still in its preparation phase, with a decision expected soon on whether to proceed to a pilot testing. However, the European Central Bank has repeatedly said that the full launch is not guaranteed. They've been saying this for a while, but it is. The same way the UK said, oh, we're not interested in digital world, digital ID, digital pounds, and then bam. The Prime Minister of the UK, Keir Starmer, comes on the news and says, everybody's getting a digital ID. I don't want to hear ifs or buts, everybody's getting it. But they started off with digital IDs, we don't need that. We care about your privacies. Digital pounds, we don't need that. We care about your privacies. But then the Prime Minister comes on the news and goes, everybody's getting one. I don't care. Everybody's getting one. You can see where this is going. The EU is going to the exact same method. According to the institutions, the decisions on whether to issue a digital euros will only be considered at a later stage once the European Union's legislative process has been completed. Despite this, Lagarde referred to the launch as a certainty. According to the other branches of democracy in Europe, we're going to be taking our time. According to the president of essentially the European Central Bank, she couldn't care less about the European democracy politicians or the people. We're moving whether you like it or not. The approaches has essentially been heightened concerns about the underlying process and design. Her language suggests that the outcome is already decided. Who saw that one coming? Politicians not listening to the people? That must be new to us. Regardless of what public institutions or lawmakers may conclude, which means any politician that goes against a digital ID, their voice will not be heard. Any retail member that signs a petition against a digital ID or digital euros, their voice will not be heard. Simplest way to put it. Unlike physical cash, which allows for anonymous and untraceable transactions, a digital euros would make financial activity fully visible to authorities. Every payment could be tracked, recorded, and analyzed. Keeping in mind, the EU said, our number one priority for a CBDC for the retail section is privacy. Seems like that doesn't matter anymore because now every payment tracked, recorded, and analyzed. Privacy advocates have long warned that CBDCs risk becoming tools for mass financial surveillance. Any genius and control if strict protections are not in place. Lagarde's comments have added fuel to those concerns. By describing democratics, essentially oversight, as a hindrance, she implied that public debate and legislative scrutiny are problems to be managed rather than essential parts of policy making. She blatantly came out and said, we don't care what you think. You could be a politician, you could be a prime minister, you could be a president. We couldn't care less of what you thought. Or you could be a retail member section. Still couldn't care less what you thought. We're going into digital euros whether you like it or not. Her tone suggested that the biggest challenge is not designing the digital euros in a way that respects civil liberties, because she couldn't care less about that, but getting around the delays created by representative governance. The more these systems are treated as a foregone conclusion, the less space remains for real debate over their risk. For many, her comments serve as confirmation that democratic resistance is not just being ignored, but actively dismissed. Going back to my earlier point of they don't care at all. This is why I made the essentially comparison of once digital IDs or digital euros or pounds or digital dollars gets introduced in your hometowns, in your country, There's going to be a group of people that would say, I'm smart enough to know no matter what I say or what I do, they wouldn't listen to me. So I might as well go first through the door, get it over with. Especially if you have cryptocurrencies, you don't have much to fear. And then there's going to be other group of people that are going to be wasting their time signing petitions as if anybody cares, because the government surely don't. There's going to be some group, the other group of people is also going to be trying to protest, hold placards in colorful slogans, intimidating the government to do a U-turn, which is never going to work out. Two ways you could go about it. And the people that take their time to get a digital ID are going to jump through hurdles upon hurdles upon hurdles. And the ones that just get the digital ID out of the way are going to jump through one hoop. Also, yesterday, and as I said before, people asking, how should I prepare? People, if you are watching this for the first time ever, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, fair enough, this is coming. No matter what I say, what I do, what I sign, it's coming. I can't stop it. How do I protect myself and my family? I've said this for a million times, and I'll always say it. Look at the foundation behind the digital world. Who is involved in the foundation of that digital world? And the number one company that always will ring a bell is Ripple. Ripple, XRP Ledger, XRP Ledger, XRP. 98% of the world in CBDCs. Ripple's the only company around the whole world, or the XRP Ledger in general, that has won CBDC awards. Name another company that's won CBDC awards. Designed this first CBDC platform. They designed the first CBDC platform. They have multiple CBDC awards. They've been sitting at the World Economic Forum. So you don't really have to look far to know how to secure yourself in a digital world. Some people might hate that, listening to, oh, here we go, XRP again, but it's just the future. It is what it is. Don't like it, be stuck in the digital world. If you're smart enough and you put your differences aside, and I know people out there are telling people inside the crypto space, oh, go with Chainlink, that's the future. Go with essentially Solana, that's the future. Ethereum, that's the future. Bitcoin, that's the future. Sure, they'll play some sort of minor roles in the future, but the biggest one is going to be the XRP Ledger. By a mile. Or 10,000 miles. Now, on the topic of Ripple, Ripple's future, I want to explain something to everyone regarding what was released on Ripple's own website, regarding ZKs, and regarding other things that Ripple has prioritized itself on so much. And one of them being, above everything else, above how Ripple is, the XRP Ledger is fast, it's reliable, Ripple is trusted, offering tokenization, so many benefits, so many advantages on the XRP Ledger. But above all, Ripple has put something at number one. Prioritize one thing mainly over everything else: privacy. Which is what Ethereum realized 2 days ago when they put two people in charge of Ethereum's privacy, because they realized to themselves that is what institutions, governments, and banks care about. The future of finance isn't just moving onto the blockchain. It's moving onto a private compliance blockchain. The biggest obstacle to institutional adoption is the core paradox to public ledgers. Finance needs privacy, but blockchains demand transparency. Ripple's technology team is directly solving this by integrating advanced cryptography, especially zero-knowledge proofs, ZKPs, into the XRP ledger. ZKPs are the key that unlocks a new era of secure, confidential, and auditable transactions for the world's largest financial players, resolving the privacy versus transparency conflict once and for all. What makes zero-knowledge proof ZKPs the institutional game changer? It comes down to separating the proof from the data. For major financial institutions, to embrace any public ledger. They must have the ability to hide sensitive commercial information from their competitors and the public, which is key. That institutions and banks want to hide that information. And that's why Ethereum all this time never caught on to the idea that institutions, banks, and governments care about one thing above everything else: privacy, which is what Ripple has been working on since the dawn of time. ZKPs make this balance possible to hide sensitive commercial information from competitors and the public. Ultimate transaction privacy. They enable truly private transactions where sensitive details, such as the transfer of amounts and specific parties involved, are hidden from the public network. Selective regulatory compliance. This is why Ripple, the XRP ledger in general, is just ahead of the game. And that is why Swift and Chainlink, Swift and AVAX, Swift and Ethereum, Swift and Bitcoin, Swift and the entire crypto space put together still couldn't compete with what the essentially Ripple and XRP ledgers bringing to the table. Selective regulatory compliance. Institutions can cryptographically prove adherence to rules like KYC, AML, auditing standards, or minimum reserve holdings without ever revealing the data, underlying identity, or transaction data. Trustless security. They enable crucial features like fair ordering within a trusted environment, mitigating market manipulation and attacks like maximum extractable value, MEVs. This commitment to building a protocol-level compliance solution is why Ripple is achieving, is why what Ripple is achieving on the XRP ledger stands above many or all crypto projects when it comes to finance. Vying essentially for the institutional markets. The XRP ledger wasn't essentially with the, retrofitted essentially with DeFi features. It was built from day one with finance in mind, which is nothing we can say for the rest of the crypto projects. Chainlink wasn't designed alongside banks. Ethereum wasn't designed alongside banks. Solana wasn't designed alongside banks. AVAX wasn't designed alongside banks. Cardano wasn't designed along. You can see where this is going. Ripple was. Day one. The XRP ledger wasn't essentially retrofitted with DeFi features. It was built from day one with finance in mind, boosting a decade of secure, reliable operations. The roadmap to integrate confidential ZKPs, enable transactions, and multipurpose tokens, MPTs in other words, directly into the ledger is a compliance-first approach that provides unmatched institutional utility. Finance-first protocol. The XRP ledger's built-in features like decentralized exchange DEX, escrows, and MPTs provide utility directly at the base layer, designed for institutional workflows. Proven institutional reliability. It has a decade-long track record of secure operations and scale without compromising on security or decentralization as stability, institutional trust, embedding compliance at the core of everything. Ripple is actively working to integrate programmable privacy and selective disclosure directly into the ledger, paving the way for a regulated, decentralized finance DeFi market space. The final crucial piece of the institutional puzzle is regulatory trust. And some people will come out and say, banks and institutions trust Swift a lot more than essentially Ripple because nobody trusts Ripple, but they do. A lot do. The amount of NDAs that Ripple has is tremendous, first of all. The fact that BlackRock's CEO, one of the most powerful men in the entire world, comes on news, and when he's asked the question of, what about XRP? Regarding the subject of ETFs, and he goes, oh no, I can't talk about that one. What does that tell you? Nobody signs NDAs for an ETF. The final crucial piece of institutional puzzle is regulatory trust. And this is where Ripple's focus on securing global licenses truly benefits XRP. When they tried to slow down Ripple's progress with this lawsuit in the United States, Ripple didn't just sit there and wait and see what happens. It went global, getting licenses from every country it could possibly get it from. Every banking license, money transfer license, MTL, or any major payment institution registration Ripple and its subsidiaries secure acts as a massive validate on-ramp for traditional finance. These licenses provide the legal certainty that banks require to use XRP's liquidity solutions and cement Ripple's role as a trusted partner. This combination of groundbreaking technology, the ZK pays for privacy and regulatory legitimacy, licenses for trust, ensures that as trillions of dollars in assets move on-chain for tokenization and cross-border payments, they will be using the XRP ledger because it's fully compliant. And most importantly, above everything else, it prioritizes privacy, which is what institutions, banks, and governments love more than anything else in this digital world. They couldn't care less when it comes to your privacy, but they love the idea of keeping their privacy, which is what they essentially prioritized since day one. And validating the XRP ledger as the backbone. So if you wanted to know, because there's a lot of news going around. Swift, Chainlink, Swift, Ethereum, Swift this, Swift that. As I said, Swift could partner up with the entire crypto space, including the meme coin section, and it still won't be able to achieve what Ripple's going to achieve. And you might think, well, that's a crazy statement. Swift is massive, trusted all around the world. So why has BRICS expanded to over 40 plus countries? Actually, to be fairly honest, over 65 plus countries decided Swift is not really the best option because it's a political tool. The faster the people realize, no matter what Swift does or Swift tries to achieve, it could partner up with the entire crypto section put together with meme coins, and it still wouldn't be able to do what it did in the past. On that note of XRP is the future, it's always been the future. The XRP ledger is the best chain out there for finance by a long shot, and nothing ever will come close to it. We have come to the endings of tonight's live. This was episode 386 of the CMF Live. The CMF stands for Crypto Masters Family. My name is Miles. You can tune to this live Monday, Friday, 10 p.m. long time onwards for the most recent news regarding cryptocurrency, CBDCs, AI, politics, and regulations. I also might be taking a Scotland trip tomorrow. I'm not sure. It's not confirmed in any sort of a way at all. But if it is confirmed regarding my Scotland trip tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, I will let everybody know inside the comment section. I will let everybody know inside the CMF Telegram group and obviously on X. That doesn't mean the live show is going to come to stop. I'll make it work. And my Scotland trip will be max 3 days. It's not confirmed in any sort of a way yet. But I'll let everybody know tomorrow or the day after. But nonetheless, I will be seeing all of you tomorrow. CMF stands for Crypto Masters Family. My name is Miles. You can tune to this live Monday, Friday, 10 p.m. London time onwards for the most recent news regarding cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, all the vital information you need to know about. Tune to this live Monday, Friday, 10 p.m. London time onwards. Before we go, obviously, let's go inside the comment section first. And the disclaimer of this live has always been not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So let's see where we were at. All CBDC up. Yep. Miles, I haven't heard how the UK will address elderly with no cell phone and digital ID. Well, according to China, they had that 2G SIM system going on where you can still get CBDC and digital ID. So they'll probably try to do that in the UK. Or CBDC. Yeah, they did it in China. people with 2G phones. Never mind, 4G or 5G. I just thought across average XRP. Let's go, Scott. Scott, let's go. Miles, half of my life I've lived in communism while Western countries lived in democracy and wealth. Now everyone will feel the privacy with no exemptions. Yep. It's getting harder and harder to find out about companies, who owns them, etc. Yep. Good night, Miles, and all the CMF. Thank you for a great live and great news. Let's go, JP. See you tomorrow, brother. Sometimes usual. Night, Miles and CMF. Pablo, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual. Feels like the walls are closing in on the freedom and digital ID rollout. I hope that XRP will save and restore some of our freedom. I don't want to get a monthly compliance vaccine. Lol. Good night, Miles and CMF. Thanks for the great news. See you tomorrow. Free forever. See you tomorrow, sometimes usual. By the way, thank you so much to everybody who has liked, retweeted this live show. If you watch this on X, and put a comment outside live. And thank you so much to everybody from the CMF who has also put a like if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you subscribed and followed me during this live, thank you so much. What is your opinion on the upcoming on-chain chain and how it will affect ACH? Should it affect it in a positive way? It's very good news, I'll be very honest. Thanks, Miles. Have a great night and see you tomorrow. Same time, Autistic. See you tomorrow, sometime as usual as well. Thank you, Miles, for the news and updates. You're the GOAT. Let's go, Peg. See you tomorrow, sometime as usual. Thank you, Miles. Have a lovely night, family. Lila, let's go. See you tomorrow, sometime as usual. Thanks, Miles, and good night, all. Stormy, see you tomorrow, sometime as usual as well. Good, great live, Miles. Thank you. Good night, Miles and CMF. Jason, let's go. See you tomorrow, sometime as usual. Enjoy your trip to Scotland, brother Miles. Let's go, Comatose. See you tomorrow, sometime as usual as well. Great show once again. Good night, CMF. Mikey, see you tomorrow, sometime as usual as well. Good night, everyone. Another great program. Miles, you're showing off, man. Let's go, Scott. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Night, Miles. Great show. Have a good night. Susie, let's go. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Safe and enjoyable trip, Miles. Let's go, Scott. Thank you so much. Praying for your trip confirmation. Let's go, Peg. What about ACH? Good project. Thanks, Miles, for your insights as always. Much appreciated. Night and day, same if. Let's go, Shelly. See you tomorrow, sometimes usual as well. Good night, Miles. Kelly, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual as well. Scott, let's go. Outstanding show all the way to the end. Great to see you back. Take care, all. Let's go, Ray. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Amazing live tonight. As always, have a nice trip and wrap up. It's cold up there. Yes, definitely. Let's go, Joe. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Miles, SEI, and Hot, they're both good in their own aspects, I'll be honest. Tony, thanks, Miles. Let's go, Tony. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Good night, and thanks for the great program. Let's go, Scott. Good night, Miles. Let's go, Mike. Miles, the GOAT. Let's go, Scott. I will see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual, 10 p.m. London time onwards for the most recent news regarding cryptocurrency, CBDC, and AI politics for the next episode of CMF Live. Episode 387 is going to be tomorrow. Miles, thank you for handling such delicate issues like the digital ID, which is very sad, but you handled it tactically and informatively. Just wish we could hear your voice from the mountains many, many months ago for people to protect themselves by investing in XRP. Facts. Thanks so much, Pisces. Thank you so much to everybody who liked, commented, and retweeted. If you haven't done that, CMF members, I really appreciate it a lot when everybody likes, comments, and retweets these live shows. Thanks so much for following and subscribing if you did during this live show as well. I will see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual, for episode 387 of the CMF Live. Like, follow, comment, retweet, and put a comment. You keep me in the faith, brother Miles. Thank you. Good night. Let's go, Paul. Comatose. Let's go. See everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. And as usual, disclaimer, not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say, only for entertainment purposes. See you tomorrow. Love you all. Have a great day or good night, depending on where you're around the world. Bye. Let's go, Johnny.